Okay, so we're going to talk scripting DDA. This has been a massive topic over the last week because of the in-game pop-up. Hopefully you guys enjoy this discussion. Whether you agree or disagree with me, I'd appreciate a thumbs up on the video. Feel free to comment your thoughts below and I'll respond to as many of you as possible. Keep it civil. I know people get super passionate about this, but we're going to dive into it in full. Hopefully you do enjoy it. Subscribe if you're new and enjoy the video. If you want the cheapest FC24 coins to get ahead of the competition, check out MMOEXP by clicking the link down below and use code JambooUK for 5% off. Okay, so we're talking about DDA and scripting, which has come up a lot over the last week because of the in-game difficulty pop-up that you've probably seen that's happening in online games. Before we talk about anything, I want to give some context about who I am. And the real reason for that is because I know there'll be criticism on, the authenticity and whether it's valid what I'm saying. So I just want to give you guys some context. So me personally, I'm an ex-professional player. I've been full-time FIFA for the last 7 years. I run a weekend league service and play 5 weekend leagues minimum. The reason that's important is because I play a lot of this game. Like, I see everything. I know the game inside out. I've coached people of all levels. I see the mistakes that are made at lower levels. And also importantly, I promote coins, which EA don't like. So I've got absolutely no reason to criticise, defend. Like, I'm in a very neutral position. I've been on both sides. I've been in their good books as a pro. I'm in the bad books now for coin. So I've got no sides to take. I'm a complete neutral, and I'm just going to say it exactly how it is. So let's get into it. So first we need to talk about the phrasing of scripting and DDA, because a lot of people will shout, for scripting in the game. They've just been scripted, or their opponent's got the script, whatever it is that may be. So scripting, that's the easiest one to just straight away debunk. Like, the definition of scripting is that the game is scripted. Like, the winner is predetermined, which obviously that can just be debunked because you can just put your controller down, and we all know, like, if anybody actually believes in scripting for what it's meant to be, then I just have no words. So we're not going to spend too much time on that, but I guess even when people say scripting, what they're actually referring to is DDA, which is dynamic difficulty adjustment. Essentially what that means is the game is changing things on purpose to give your opponent an edge in the game. So what people think is that if a pro player or a high-level player, matches someone bad, or just basically if you're better than your opponent and you're smashing them, EA are doing things to keep them in the game, to give them an advantage or even give them the win. So examples of it are, people will say that, they're winning a game and they can feel their players turn into absolute garbage. Their opponents are juiced up, like, quicker than they should be. Maybe they're finishing every chance when they shouldn't be. And this is not true. What is true, though, are certain mechanics and things in the game that get exploited in these situations. So the biggest one that stands out for me, top of my head, is team press. And of course, team press, you're going to feel that more when you're winning a game, because that's when your opponent turns it on. So with team press, your players do turn to garbage and their players do feel like they're on crack. And that is because they've turned it on and they're using a broken mechanic. And there's always been this team press and this sort of stuff that, you can argue whether it's there to help out the losing player. I guess it obviously is, but in a way that is way stronger than it should be. But essentially we're talking about a user input broken mechanic. There is things that are really broken in this game as well. For example, 45th minute and 90th are a thing. Like, inside these minutes, it is way easier to score goals. I'm telling you that for an absolute fact. I've played tens of thousands of games over the last sort of 10 years. And I can tell you it's been in every single installment. It's the exact same with kickoff. That's something that EA deny. They say it's not in their game. I'm telling you now, it's in the game. It is a lot easier to score when you take the ball from a kickoff, until the ball goes off that pitch, I'm telling you, something changes. Now, I can't tell you exactly what it is, but it is something to do with the AI and other things. Like, I'm telling you, they just don't respond how they should, and weird things happen until the ball goes out of play from a kickoff. But again, this isn't DDA and scripting. This is like FIFA being a poor game, because that is what we're talking about here. Like, I'm not saying that this game by any means is good. Like, I think it's garbage. But at the same time, the game is not out there to get you. Like, this whole scripting thing, it's genuinely excuse making. And I completely understand, right? Some of the things I've said, there will be times where you're winning a game, and because of this awful game we're playing, there will be things that seem fishy. Like, your opponent scores a 1 in a million shot, or, you know, your player trips over the ball. But it's because of a poor game. It's nothing's been predetermined, pre-decided. I see this when I'm winning 10-0. I see it when I'm losing games. Like, it's just RNG randomness. There's no thought behind it. Whether you're winning or losing, these things are happening constantly, and you're not going to remember them until it affects you at a time where you're going to remember, which will be which costs you a game or costs you your rank in foot champs. That is how this works. There's a lot of RNG all over the pitch. You know, every single card has different stats. There's different duels going on all across the pitch, random stuff happening. You know, your player might only have 80 finishing and he misses a chance. You could have a certain chance where 8 times out of 10 it goes in, but you hit that 2 out of 10 where it doesn't, and you think you've been robbed by the game, which in a way you have, but it's not scripting and it's not DDA. I've coached players of all levels. I see the mistakes that get made at lower levels, and honestly, if I'm being brutally honest, I think a lot of it is a skill issue, because if this scripting and DDA was in full force, you know, 24/7, and it was out there, you wouldn't have people hitting 20-0 every week. And people argue that it's just because the people getting 20-0 every week are able to almost outplay the script. It's just that it's absolute nonsense. Genuinely, it's nonsense. So that is my honest summary. Like I say again, I've played, genuinely, I'd say over the last couple of years, I may be the number one in terms of the most games played, due to what I do as a full-time job. There will be a handful, if any at all. And I think that matters, because, like I say, I know this game inside out. Like, I know how it acts. I've felt every situation you can feel in this game, and I've got no bias. So that is my opinion. I think it's thrown around as an excuse. I do think the game's garbage. There is things that need changing, but scripting, DDA in online games is not a thing. But let me know your thoughts. I know I'll get some stick for this for sure. But hopefully you understand my reasonings as well. This was about the in-game difficulty pop-up and why scripting and DDA isn't a thing. I hope you enjoyed it, and peace.